Wickenburg Unified School District, number 9, board meeting of December 17th, and it's 5:03 p.m. And if you'll all join me with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Thank you. Okay, and if we can get an adoption of the agenda.
I make a motion to adopt the agenda for December 17th, 2024 as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. All right, so tonight we've got quite an audience here, and we have a special going on. We've got our one of my first proclamations as board president, and so I'm going to start with that. And this is our our Speak Up, Stand Up, Save a Life proclamation. We've got that fantastic group with us tonight. So I will read this and bear with me. Whereas the Speak Up, Stand Up, Save a Life movement presents an ideal opportunity to bridge the gap between young people, our local community, government, and law enforcement in a positive way. And whereas our local schools are facing preventable suicides and tragedies, they may include warning signs in person or online, but bystanders and friends remain silent among threats or cries for help. And whereas our young people can be empowered to seek help for themselves, be advocates for their peers, report concerning posts or comments to school representatives or law enforcement. And adults can receive training to help spread the message it is okay to care enough to speak up, stand up, and save a life. And whereas Arizona students from 169 public, charter, private, and tribal schools have learned the message and created student-led impact projects in their schools and communities that have impacted over 500,000 youth in the state of Arizona. Now therefore, I, Joe Malio, Wickenburg Unified School District Governing Board President, and the entire Governing Board do hereby proclaim the month of January 2025 as Speak Up, Stand Up, and Save a Life. In witness thereof, I hereunto set and cause a seal of the Wickenburg Unified School District to be affixed on the 17th day of December 2024. Thank you very much. Dr. Lemon, do you have So I would like to present this to your group, and does anybody wish to go up to the podium and tell us?
Everybody, stand up. That's right.
Well, they have theirs.
Stand up, speak up.
So stand up and speak up, everybody.
So, since the last time we were at the school board, we were thinking about making a giving closet for all of the people in need of clothes and essential needs. Since then, we've been getting tons of clothes and been helping many of families in need. And we've been working with the SALT crew to help us get more clothes for the families in need.
Awesome. Very good. Thank you. Very good.
The last time we were here, we wanted the Be Kind crew to come out and do the kindness of So this year,
Beautiful. Thank you.
we got to participate in the Wickenburg Lake Parade, and our goal for that was to spread kindness to the community.
Awesome.
So these are just a few of the things that they've been working on. This
team of kids for the Speak Up, Stand Up, Save a Life organization. Out of 169 schools, we submitted an implementation plan, and our school was selected, and we won best implementation plan. So the students are going to be honored at their conference. We will be speaking at the conference in January. They won $500 to implement their plan, and then an anonymous donor was so proud of what we're doing, they went ahead and donated $500 more to this crew to make all their dreams come true. And then, like they said, we did have the Be Kind crew come out, and they actually awarded $5,000 to our athletic department as well.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Thank you.
And we want to present that to one of the kids when the kids come up.
Casey has,
Casey.
We have two. I'd like to get a picture with the kids receiving it from Mr. Mull.
And Joe.
did you bring my t-shirt? I'll get a t-shirt. Oh, we're good, I think, right?
Or put them behind you.
Okay, I was gonna say, yeah, there we go.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good, thank
Don't get me.
It's called edit crop.
That's awesome.
And thank you guys.
Very good.
Thank you. We're gonna take my 50 pairs of jeans.
Okay, they already have. Okay. Okay.
I'm excited.
Well, that's a good way to start a board meeting. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Keep up the good work. Good luck and keep up the good work.
Okay, so the next order of business, we will head into our recognitions. Anybody on the board have any special recognitions they wanted to give out at this point?
Where's my, I got it, okay. This time of year, all the schools, are having their Christmas programs and stuff, and just want to recognize the teachers that put the time in to get the choirs, all the different music, events for the different age group of choirs together. And they have, out at festival, they have 3 different groups that are, that Amanda Bubb put together 3 different groups of programs, 3 different programs going. So I just want to recognize all the teachers around the district that were put the time in for the programs, Christmas programs.
Very good. Very well noted. Karen?
Just quick, there's so many to mention, but there are so many clubs, even like what we just saw in clubs and groups within all of our schools that are recognizing people in need. And the giving in this community for that, and what I have been hearing of angel trees to food, it's just amazing. So to the whole community and all the schools that have done special things to make sure that the holiday
Are special for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Sandy?
I would just like to say I attended the band and choir concert at the Web Center, and the kids did an absolutely fantastic job. I remember last year when there was, I think, 5 people in the band, and it's expanded. And the last song that the band played, he said, "This is our favorite song, and it's also the most difficult song to play," and they aced it. It was so good. and the choir was excellent, the solos were excellent. It was just, I just wish more people would come and support them.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, so I also, I was gonna say about the choir concert, which was amazing, and band. And I wanted to let everyone know that they just had auditions at the high school for their spring musical, which is gonna be Mamma Mia. So put it on your calendars now for April, so you can come see. They had almost 40 kids audition this year, which is the most I think they've had in probably years. So it should be a spectacular show. And you'll get to see Riley
And the other children.
and the other children. And Riley.
You good?
Mhm.
Dr. Remendini?
Well, I do want to reiterate what everybody said about the holiday concerts. I had a very interesting Thursday because I got to go to not one but two concerts at Hacienda, which was just absolutely darling. They were so good. And then I raced up to the high school to watch a soccer game, and then I raced down to watch the high school band and choir concert. Just a fun day to watch kids perform, all doing good things. I try to go to one sporting event each season of everything, and sometimes it's hard to get to them all. Missed the girls, but got the boys soccer team, so that was a lot of fun. And I'm sorry I'm going to miss the Festival Foothills concerts because one's tonight and one's Thursday night, and this board meeting and something else, but I wish everybody well. There's a lot going on this time of the year. I want to again acknowledge the students who care. They showed up they were also, the proclamation was given at the town of Wickenburg last night, and they were there, and Mayor Bratcher let them read the proclamation, and so they got up in front of that scary place, and they did an amazing job, and I do want to recognize their parents for supporting them. They've all been everywhere. The kids have been, and they were with the parade. They had a wonderful entry into the parade. Speaking of the parade, we also had our high school FFA team had an entry, and they had a great float with Kinsey driving the truck, and it was really good. So it was a fun-filled weekend, and those students really represent a lot of the other kids at Vulture Peak. It's a small school, but they're doing some really good things. The community that Karen mentioned, I want to thank all the entire community, but particularly Banner Nauman, who put together the food baskets and got those distributed, and the hundreds of Wrangler wishes that went out. No kid's going to go unnoticed. And this weekend, Cops Who Care partnered with our Santa Fest, so our CTE kids partnered with Cops Who Care. Kids got CTE fun, and Santa was there. And then, again, our community, Airvac and Wickenburg Fire supported, Santa Claus landed in a helicopter at Hacienda yesterday. Was that just yesterday, or was it the day before? I don't know. Yesterday was quite the day. But anyway, the kids were so excited about the helicopter. They could not believe a helicopter was landing in their in their field. And then when Santa came out, it was like the paparazzi was there. They didn't know Santa was in the helicopter, and you could hear them cheering, and Santa stayed for well over an hour. Every single kid got to greet Santa, got a treat. Airvac provided the treats. PTA had treats. Santa talked to every single kid, and the kids that wanted to go through the helicopter got to walk through the helicopter, and they were amazing. So it was a lot of fun, and Airvac will be at the high school and at Vulture Peak coming up soon for career days and everything else. And with that, all of that, I wish everyone a wonderful holiday season because I need a rest.
Well, thank you, Dr. Remendini. And I do just want to reiterate, just based on what you talked about, the partnerships that the school district is blessed to have with our public first responders and Airvac. Those are just wonderful things that these people came out and did. I mean, this community is blessed, very blessed, and I'm blessed to be on this board, so thank you very much. And with further ado, we will head into our principal reports. And first up tonight is Festival Foothills Principal, Mr. Matt Clark.
Well, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, ho, ho, ho.
Karen, do you want to start?
Sure.
Okay.
First of all, I know that he has to get back for a program too, and I can't wait to be there. I hope on Thursday, so I'm excited for that. I really just want to say you've done so much work in preparing this document of the updates. That's what I particularly like about this, of the charts and everything, but your updates. So your people are working so hard, and I know.
That's for sure.
And it's going to pay off. I know that, I believe that, I pray that, everything. I just wanted to draw a couple, one question and attention to something.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask you a question for the future when you come back.
Okay.
Are you gonna continue your discipline data for the whole year? Will it just continue? You now have it from August to November.
That's something that's under discussion amongst all of us principals and Dr. Remendini.
Okay.
So I'm
Just
going to kind of let ultimately what the group
kind of
decides.
see what they do. Okay.
I can tell you the initial rationale, and honestly, it's probably
I like
my
it.
wiring more than anything else. Is just I'm kind of thinking about growth and progress, and obviously, the more data you have to develop any sort of a trend is helpful.
Mhm.
But that's something that's going to be under discussion.
Okay.
So.
Well, it was the only question comes from that data, and that's about where certain incidences are taking place.
Okay.
And I know you drew attention to it in your update, that the playground and cafeteria are areas of concern, and lunch and recess. So I just wanted to ask what is in the works, or what group is looking to make changes maybe, so that those aren't our high profile areas.
So there's a couple of parts of that answer. I'm going to start with the playground recess piece first. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm actually kind of excited to say this. So as you saw in the report, 5th and 6th grade is kind of something we're pinpointing. Honestly, a trend that I've kind of picked up on after I had to submit this report is I also am wondering about 3rd and 4th grade. Am I alarmed? No. But the reason I say that is because I'm seeing a correlation with what they're doing on the playground at recess. Now, here's the good news. It has to do with tag, it has to do with soccer, and in the case of 5th and 6th grade, it has to do with football. Now, why would I be excited to share that? Because I'm not talking about a video game or something online. I mean, well, Ron, you live in the community, and so do you. And so you see, like, if I was 10 again, and I see that park and that whole setup and how nice that the HOA takes care of that, I think that's great. But what I'm getting long-winded, but what I'm discovering is the stuff that I'm seeing that you're just seeing in a chart and in the data, it's because kids are struggling just playing. Mm-hmm. And what might simply be 2 kids, I don't want to say a scrum, that's a bad word, but I don't know what else to use, trying to get a soccer ball for their team, and, one of them breaking free, well, then all of a sudden turns into, well, you kicked me, or, why did you bump my shoulder doing that? That sort of thing. Stuff where in athletics, it's part of the game, but if you're in that age group, you may not get that yet, depending on what you're doing. And so that's what I'm noticing on that. Addressing piece, there's a couple of pieces. Number one, supervision. I do the middle school lunch. Middle school was some pieces I chose to take on from a supervision standpoint based on stuff I saw last year. But what I've noticed when we're out there and I go is I typically, the person who is with me, they kind of go to the playground area and the canopies and they supervise that. Well, somebody is always walking over where the soccer goals and everything out, where the kids are play, and it happens to be kind of in between the soccer field and then basketball courts. Well, those fields, that's where the games are being played, whether it's the kids playing football or it makes no difference. And so proximity is something I want to talk about with the aides. It's like, what is proximity? What does that look like? Because I don't think it's any accident that the only thing I see at the middle school break time when they're playing soccer is somebody who maybe just rolled an ankle that I have to help. But the game itself, the kids are playing appropriately, if that makes sense. In terms of the cafeteria, a couple of things. I think, number one, I think proximity can be a thing as well, just from what I've seen. And what I mean by that is sometimes everybody wants to sit up at the front of the cafeteria and talk. and maybe there's a table that isn't getting watched as close. Well, how can we break that up or have a circulation pattern? And then also too, just what are ways to appropriately deal with those students when something does arise? And once again, a lot of this stuff is just coming from an argument. They're not really explosions, but they're things you can kind of see the train coming a little bit. And if you just intervene a little faster, or maybe you take a little bit of a different tone or de-escalate, stuff like that.
Well, I think those are very intuitive, so the intuitive ideas. I think that's great. Thank you. That was awesome.
I'm just excited that I'm just the data and what I'm seeing is the playing. I mean, I don't
It's
mean to beat that to
coming
death,
out
and
of
I
the-
don't want to paint a rosy picture, but it's like they're doing stuff that kids should be doing.
Yeah.
Thankfully, they got to learn how to do it better. But they're doing
Yeah.
stuff that it's like you want to see your kids doing.
Well, hey, Thursday night football could do it better too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, they could.
The other thing I want to say is the new after-school program that you're implementing, or for kids that want to stay and play. Interestingly enough, it correlates because some of those skills can be taught even in that after-school thing. But I think that's awesome. So thank you for providing that opportunity for our kiddos. That's all I have.
Thanks, Karen. Sandy?
My question was, with the absences, you know, I see, you know, all the schools are trying to get the kids, because you can't teach them if they're not in school. Is there a trend as to the majority of these absences? I mean, are these kids sick, or are parents taking them to doctor appointments, or, you know, I mean, is there a pattern of what is causing the most absences?
Sadly, excused absence is a broad thing. I mean, and no, and I'm not trying to skirt your question, but
No,
it's
I
like I've always told people since I've been an admin, people will be like, "What's the hardest part of your job? You know, the angry parents or the discipline?" I'm like, "No, it's attendance," because I feel like it has the least amount of tools in the toolbox to address it.
Mm-hmm.
Without being able to be in walls of homes and do a real deeper dive, I don't know, other than Carly definitely gets a lot of responses when she's following up on absences each day. And, oh no, we held them out today. And sometimes it is an appointment. Sometimes it's stuff that you would expect, nothing that's really unusual, but they add up. And so for me, the bigger question is how do we tackle the excused ones? Because what we have seen, updating our system and sending home our letters and contacting and things like that is the real chronic stuff. I mean, we have seen results with that where those kids will come back, and it may not be perfect, but there's some improvement.
Mm-hmm.
But like with the excused one, to be honest with you, I don't know if I have an answer yet, because I'm kind of like, okay, well, how far do I go before it's not my business? But I need you at school.
Right.
But it's not my child,
Right.
but I still need you at school.
Right, but I really think, and you know, I could be way off base, that's possible, but it seems like since COVID, parents are quite happy to keep their kids out of school for no reason other than the kid doesn't want to go to school, or the mother doesn't want to get dressed and take them to school, or whatever. I think it's more prevalent that kids are missing school than they did before.
I got to be careful what I say, but it's like I would agree. I think it's fair. I would agree with you in terms of I think times have just changed a little bit, and if COVID is the marker, okay, yeah, I could see that. Could you maybe pick other markers? Yeah, but yeah, so things are different when my wife and I had our 3 kids at home, and I think things were at that stage even different from when I was the kid at home with my mom and dad. Yeah. Like I say, without being a fly on the wall, you'll probably never truly know, but I don't think you're off either.
Yeah. As usual, we go back to it's the parents who are allowing it.
Can I follow up with that? In your analysis of absences, is there like 1 or 2 of the children that are chronic, absence? Or is it just kind of?
We have a few chronics. I don't remember that number right off the top. Can I tell you when we did our first run of letters, was that the first group of kids that I wanted to see? Yes. And that really, it would have been my first group regardless, but just stemming from stuff I learned spring semester of the year before and thinking ahead to this and it becoming a goal. Yeah. But we're checking up on everybody at the same time, because what I've also learned is, yeah, what might just be 2 absences in 1 week. Well, if you're not keeping some sort of tabs, you might be surprised how that can even snowball sometimes, even when you would think, no way this kid would have become that. For the kind of similar things I just said to Sandy, it's like, I'm not a fly on the wall in the home, so you never really know what could start something more chronic.
Yeah, but I just, if there's, you've have so many absences, but it's like, 8 group 3, 5, whatever it is, kids that are the ones that have amassed, numerous ones, and the others are, kind of more sporadic. So, okay, thank you.
Those patterns are accurate. I can answer that, yeah. Where you definitely see the, oh my goodness. But if you look a little deeper, you do see some kids with the sporadic pattern, but it still adds up to be something of significance.
Okay. Thank you.
Are you done, Sandy?
Yes.
Susan, do you have anything?
No.
All right, and was that it for you? Ron?
No, well, I have one more question.
Okay.
On your IXL data, reading that, I like that program. But what grades are doing this, or is it all the grades?
It's all the grades. I don't think kindergarten gets much into this, but 1st through 8th to some level they're using it.
Thank you. That was my question. I just didn't know what grades were doing it. And, but I like what this I guess can promise, to helping the kids, learn concepts and whatever. So, thank you.
Matt, the only thing I would reiterate things I've already heard, but I really do like the update sections that you have in there. It really helps because when I get my new packet for the new board meeting upcoming, typically it's cumbersome to go back to the last report you had and compare those numbers. So this really, really helps. So if we can keep that up, that'd be awesome.
Okay, no problem.
And then the other thing, this is just a comment.
Okay.
The professional development section, it just never got changed out from the last report. Because I'm looking September, October, November, just to point it out.
Okay. Well, no. Do you guys want that more monthly? And the only reason I do it is same thing like when I answered your question about the all-year discipline. I don't know, kind of what you're saying. It's like, well, I can work on that. Whatever you guys want.
That. No, that's kind of what I do like to see, but
these
are all in the past.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the future.
Going further ahead.
Correct.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's all I was saying.
Okay.
So,
And just to clarify, I'm sorry, Mr. Malio, there is no professional development day in the month of December.
Correct.
So our next one is in January.
Okay.
So.
No, so just think future. Oh, that's no problem.
yeah. But no, that's great. Otherwise, great report, great photos, great keeping us abreast of what's going on. And let's get those grades more into the green. I know that's what we're working on. That's our goals. And yeah. So anyway, great report. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And I know you got a program to get to. I don't know if that's what you're doing or not, but
It's all
Yes,
that's right. All right, so our next principal report comes from Vulture Peak Middle School, and our principal, Mrs. Anne Marie Davy. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
So I guess we'll flip the table this way. Ron, would you like to start with this one?
Okay. Well, a lot of good data in here, all the grade updates, and the teachers excuse me, the teachers with the grades and the subjects and everything, I really like reading that, to get a feel for, you know, what's happening there. You know, but, yeah, like Mario said earlier, you know, of course, the Galileo is, I don't like it, basically. It's not something you can, put your finger on right there and go,
Right.
okay. But, yeah, just, we'll just have to, watch that everything move to the right, as we go through the next level of assessments. And then get into the final of the state testing. But, yeah, okay, but no, that's really all I had.
Okay. Susan?
Well, we love the Kindness Club, as you know, they're amazing. I loved seeing that you wrote in here, students are graphing their own growth.
Yeah, so they, in their ELA and their math classes, so they look at their Galileo, and I don't remember if I mentioned this or not, but they got a treat, all the kids that improved in 2 or more areas, or at least 2 of the 3 areas. We had 82 kids. So out of 135 kids, 82 of them showed growth in 2 areas. And they were so excited about that, because what we find is the tests don't always, it doesn't help. It shows you what they want you to know. Does that make sense? So we're trying to find ways to motivate them. So show us what you really know. Don't just get on there and click through. Show us what you really know. And they were so excited. And the next one, so we have our next benchmark in January. So next one we're going to do a Sunday bar for them. And so we were telling them, like, hey guys, if you show growth, and so what do we have to do so now we're getting them motivated. So it's one thing to teach them, which is what we're doing, but we're also trying to motivate them. So that's where we're really focusing on.
And just having them look at their own scores.
So now they're like, okay, now I know where I want to grow and how I can do to get there. And so it's really, it was really powerful to do that.
And then I just love seeing how involved all of these students are in so many different activities and so many different things, not only just at the school, but in the community. It's really great. It made me happy.
I'm very proud of my students.
No smirking. Are you done? Okay. Actually, I'm going to, Ron's favorite thing, the IXL data. And when you look at the hours that were at school and at home, Vulture Peak is the only one that shows that many kids getting on it at home, which I was impressed at, because most of them are about a little tick in there. But this was a third of the circle. And so I was impressed that the kids were motivated. Maybe that's why, because they were trying to get those big treats. But it impressed me that they were motivated enough to go on this at home and be working on it, which is a good sign.
It's a very student-friendly program, so it's really easy, and it's also easy for parents to work with them on it. And so I think that's one reason it is easy to go home and work on it, and they see their progress. Every single problem, they can see what percentage they're getting, and so there's your built-in motivator. Okay, if I get this one right, it goes up to this percentage, and I have to get to blank percentage in order. And some of them will go beyond what the recommended or the required percentages, which is nice.
But I haven't noticed that before in any of these reports, that many kids have gotten on it at home. So that to me showed a little bit of motivation there, that they wanted to get better. Maybe they'll go full out for that Sunday.
I just want to ask one clarifying thing to what Sandy just brought up about that. So a couple meetings ago, or maybe one meeting ago, I don't know. I took an absence the last meeting, but anyway, when it says home, it doesn't necessarily mean at home, correct? That means
it can mean outside of school time. So we do have time in the morning where they can work. So we have tutoring in the morning, and we also have, they can do it after school. So it may not be at home, but it could be during that 1 hour in the morning that we have for them to do extra things and to get tutoring.
So I did remember it correctly. I'm proud of me. The other thing that she said, and this goes on exactly the same thing, when you have competitiveness like that,
Mhm.
because I know in my career, we're stacked up against all the other agents in what I do. And you don't want to be down here. And when you get to see everybody's name, and it's like, whoa, I got to do something more. So with you doing the motivational thing, what Susan brought up about the charting their stuff, you put that and compile it with trying to get to Sunday bar or whatever the treat is for that period. I think that it really helps too. And some of them probably do go on at home, or maybe a whole bunch go on at home, who knows?
Maybe.
And hopefully, I think they're going to try to increase, try to beat the next kid.
Mhm.
That's just what I wanted to say on that. So anyway, Sandy, were you finished with your everything? It's the Italian part. It's the Italian part.
It's the Italian in her.
Yeah.
I'm really Irish, but go ahead.
No, I was talking about my Italian.
I'm Italian.
Yeah.
See, don't you?
I'm Italian.
Okay, yeah, I'm done with it.
Okay, Karen.
Okay, thank you. There's a lot of research about the graphing their own growth.
Mhm.
And so I would encourage you maybe at the next report, couple months, include maybe a picture or bring one and
Oh, okay.
I would love for us to see, and you can take child's name off of
Sure.
it if you want, to show what those are looking like in their classrooms, because
Okay.
those are really pretty cool
Okay.
when the kids do that. And depending on the grade level, it looks different.
Correct. Mhm.
Of course. A couple of things. In your last report, in one of the updates for your SMART Goal 1, you had said that Fabio Zuluaga, am I saying that right?
I don't know. I just
Close.
call him Fabio.
With Fabio, with the Project Momentum,
Uh-huh.
had visited you guys 3 times, and you had written, he had made suggestions to improve classroom engagement, which we implemented immediately.
Correct.
So I wondered maybe what some of those were, and now with this report, what you saw as different.
So the main thing that we're really focusing on are called exit tickets. Are you familiar with exit tickets? Okay. So exit tickets and writing goals that are with what we call success criteria, so that the kids can see, like, not just writing a goal, but how do I know that I met that goal? So those are the 2 big things. And then we're continuing to work on our engagement strategies, which I mentioned that we do every PD as we really focus on in. So the exit tickets, and the different teachers use them differently. So one teacher uses hers because the intervention time is built into the classroom. So she does an exit ticket and then immediately goes into the intervention time with those exit tickets and breaks the kids into groups. And then we have our outside tutor that comes in and works with, like, the lower grade. Like, she'll even say, okay, I need you to work with this specific group based on their exit tickets. So every single day they're focusing on whatever area they're struggling with right then and there. So those are the 2 main things. And then another teacher uses her exit tickets at the beginning. So she uses hers to figure out what are going to do my bell work on. So exit ticket next morning, that's the first thing I'm going to go over. So they're always spiraling back to whatever it is, whatever standard or whatever area skill they need to work
Those are
on.
awesome. And Fabio brought that to the table, and then
Yeah.
you guys were able to start
Correct.
those right away. I did want to make a note about your engagement strategy paragraph where you talked about there is nothing more powerful than teachers in your school presenting something to their peers, because then they're all more willing to try it. It didn't come from the top down
Correct.
necessarily, and that I'm excited to see that. That's amazing.
And it's fun to, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
No.
interrupt you, but we did a question trail, and an ELE teacher did it, and it was fun to watch you go into a math class using that same thing but in math, and then going into a social studies class and seeing the social studies class. So it was fun to see. It doesn't have to be just because it was the ELE teacher. It's not just an ELA skill. It can
Right,
be
and
anywhere.
you might have written this, but how are they giving their information back? Like, how are they giving feedback to the person who taught them how to do that? The
Like,
teacher that came and shared it, and now they've all gone out and kind of done it. When do they?
Yeah, we'll talk about it at our next PD,
Okay.
or they'll even say, hey, I'm going to try this in my classroom. You want to come see it? So
Oh,
that's how
good.
I know, because they'll even say like, hey, I'm going to try this question trail in my class, and so I'll go in there to watch
That's
the
awesome.
kids do it. It's a lot of fun to see that.
That's great. My last question was concerning the grade update.
Mhm.
And I know about that and even printed something so I could know it from Arizona
Mhm.
for sure. So I just wanted to know, you're so close to
Yes,
the B.
we are.
You're so close. And so I just wondered on what areas are have the most potential for growth, because you had mentioned in there by breaking down the components, we were able to focus on the areas that have the most potential for growth. So
Correct.
maybe what were
So
those?
what we have done now is we are. Somebody
You
keeps
okay?
No, somebody keeps calling me.
Okay.
They'll be okay. So what we did is we're looking at our kids. We broke all of our students down by what we call bubble. Like they're the ones that have the most potential to move to the
Mhm.
next. So even when we set up our intervention groups, we look at that because we're trying to do two things. One is growth. So all of our kids experiencing growth, and the second is moving more kids into proficiency.
Mhm.
So we're looking at both of those things in all three areas, which is ELA, math, and then science at 8th grade. Science last year was not very good in 8th grade, so we see a lot of potential for growth in that. So we really focused on that. All of our subgroups did very, very well this past year. So it's a lot of that is maintaining that, because the year before we only got 2 out of a potentially, I can't remember what the total you can get. They only give you 10. And last year we got 2. Or the year before, last year we got 21.
Mhm.
So we went from
Right.
2 to 21. Well, now they only give you 10. I was like, doggone it. But that tells you, and I went through every single solitary and showed where we had maintained or grown. So we are like, we got to maintain this. We have to maintain this. We have to grow this. So we
Mhm.
broke every single solitary piece down.
Amazing, amazing. That's a lot to do. Congratulations. Good.
Well, the staff is amazing.
Yes.
Like I tell them all the time, like guys, you were almost there. We're
Oh my
there.
gosh,
We're
yes.
like right there. We're gonna do it. So
Thank you.
All right, so I already brought up what I needed to or wanted to, but I do want to reiterate everything on here. It's good information. Again, keep the updates coming like that. It's very helpful to me, probably all of us actually. And yeah, good, great report. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
okay. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Did Ron have anything?
What's that?
No.
He started.
I know. I got that. I didn't remember.
All right, so there she is. Now we have Hacienda Elementary and Mrs. Carissa Hershkowitz. Good evening.
Good evening.
So, Karen, would you like to start again or no?
Sure. I don't, it's not a very well-worded direct question, but it is on the math, the 5th grade math. I don't even know what question to ask necessarily, but I look at that and my first thought is, was there a mistake in the chart? So just maybe what's being done there, maybe if you have some, of course, not excuses, but some ideas of what's causing that?
So this is a grade level that we have a pretty significant amount of students who are on IEPs.
Okay.
So that is one element. The other is, in talking with the teachers, it's really that they're at that strategic level. So they're right there, and the difference between a good handful of those being in that area of strategic versus hitting the benchmark is a question or 2 questions. So they just felt like it was that bubble. And I know you don't like the Galileo, but for the teachers, it spells it out by the standard they are working on. So they can look at this, and it is like, did they look at the right test today?
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I've had that feeling a time or two. But when they dig in, they can really see, like, we have covered these elements and haven't done these even yet. So like this makes sense that they didn't get it. And sometimes the test is weighed in different ways that, you know, it's what do you look like as a 5th grader? And this is just a snapshot in time. So they dig in and look at each piece of each element and standard that's been covered, and then they're looking at their small groups and their after-school groups and the extra practice on IXL, and because they can assign the standards specifically from IXL for that instructional practice.
Are they
So-
doing that?
Yes.
Are they doing that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The Galileo, because I'm not as familiar with it as others, all students take it? Our IEP students take it too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's everybody.
So the ones that aren't are the ones that aren't taking the state test as well.
Okay. And I know as principals, you guys are having a conversation about the data and whether it's even important to report it the same or differently, but I did recognize your discipline data was for 1 month only, basically, a little over a month.
From the
And
last one to this one.
And so
Yeah.
our first grade with 40, my assumption is there's probably repeat offenders in there.
Correct. And like Joe, is
Yeah.
this a conversation we had back in September? First grade has some extra need, and those needs are being addressed, and some are special ed needs, and some are just some other interventions within the classroom kind of needs. So it's just it's still a matter of figuring out what each kid needs, and it's an interesting thing that when you figure out one child and get them taken care of, then the next one says, I'm the
Right.
next important one. So we have a little bit of that going on in first grade. And I think
So
even with what Mr. Clark was talking about, students knowing how to play well
Mhm.
together and interact, and we're having a lot of socialization issues between students.
I'd like to ask a question that is more of a district question. At Hacienda, do we have a counselor,
A behavior coach.
social worker?
No.
No. School psych?
We have the district.
The district school psych. Okay, I'm
Mhm.
still
Yeah,
getting
we-
used to that.
We've had a social worker in the past, and when she resigned, we haven't been able to fill that position, and so we moved that position to make sure we had a person at each school site. And then our school psychologist, it's actually one position, 2 people share it. They each work half-time. They're a married couple that are school
yeah.
psychologists. And they have spent most of their time doing threat assessments and just psychoeducational assessments. We have a huge percentage of students that qualify or need to be assessed for
Mhm.
possible placement in a specialized program. And there, the amount of testing that goes on in this district is crazy. It's huge, very high numbers. And then, of course, they help with all the threat assessments. Somebody is there if a child makes a
Right.
threat or something like that. So.
And when I said counselor, you said behavior coach.
Mhm.
So
She works somewhat in that regard as a counselor, but really she's more about behavior interventions, doing the functional behavior assessments, figuring out what the root cause is.
well, first
working-
grade will keep her busy.
Yeah, and she provides instructional
Good.
minutes for our students on IEPs
Okay.
who need that. We could, even with as small as we are, we could use a full-time
Yeah.
counselor along with the coach and probably another special ed teacher.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Appreciate your answers.
If I may, Mr. Malio, Ms. Dean, we had counselor position posted and we didn't have any applicants.
Got it.
So
That
this
one.
is the second year in the row
Okay.
that we actually sought out some guidance from some other districts that were having the same thing, and we created a job description that's for a behavior coach. And they do have specialized training, but
Mhm.
they do not hold that counseling certificate with the Arizona Department of Education. So
Okay.
one other person that can support behaviors and those kinds of things. So,
Very good.
yeah.
Thank you.
And our IEPs, not students who are just speech and language, but academic and cognitive and everything else, we're over 23%.
23.
Yes.
Okay.
And as of today, I attended 3 IEP meetings today, and so I'm at 71. So I'll check with Mr. Gorman to see where we are.
Okay. Thank you.
It's a lot.
I'm
It's a
just,
lot.
those kids are getting serviced, I can
There's
tell.
students
So-
are definitely getting served. We have people, just like Miss Davies said, our teachers are working hard
Yes.
and analyzing everything to figure out, like, this, you know, the state is make anybody happy. So what is it that we can do? What have we not explored yet? All things.
Very good, thank you.
Mhm.
Sandy?
Yes. Well, I was gonna talk about the little first graders as well, but we kind of run that one into the ground by now. And the 4 scores for the 5th grade. But I was happy to see that, from the first quarter to the second quarter, there was like a 17 student increase in the kids participating in after-school tutoring,
Mhm.
which was a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was really mainly all that I wanted to say, because I knew it was going to be a lot of other questions, so I was going to be pretty quiet.
Did you notice the first grade math scores?
Did I write
Yeah.
that down?
Mhm. Yes.
They're very smart.
Yeah. Yes, I did, actually. They were excellent. Very, very excellent. And what I find interesting is, you know, the first line is the Wickenburg School District, and then us. And it seems like they almost run head and head. You know, here's Wickenburg School District, here's Hacienda or Festival or whichever,
Mhm.
which I find interesting.
Yeah.
Like it carries on from grade school through middle school and onward. Yeah, just an observation.
Yeah.
No, I love all the stuff the kids are doing and the involvement. And, you know, I just found out I am qualified to come down as a volunteer, so watch out.
Very good. We'll take it.
No, I'm just, I love the bullying thing, you know, getting these kids started young with understanding that bullying isn't a good thing.
Right.
You know, hopefully they understand what that is and move forward with it and become kind citizens. And
How we end up with those great kids at
Mhm.
Culture
Yeah.
Week that, you know,
Absolutely.
and they're
doing some
those
good things.
first time they were here, they had me in tears. They were so
Mhm.
really just great. But really, that's about it.
Okay.
I'm sorry I missed the program.
We are so fortunate to have Mrs. Boyle. Like I sing that from the rooftops in our little community, to have someone with her talent and what she's able to do in a short amount of time. It's amazing. Yeah, she did a fabulous job. And she'll be doing her tour on, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
On tour, yeah.
She's going on tour.
Yeah, her Eras tour, yeah. No, the Coyote Chorus, she takes them to a couple places
My
around the
mother
community.
made cookies.
What's that?
My mother made cookies. West Park.
West Park, that's, I'm trying to think of, yes.
Yes.
West Park.
Great.
My mother organizes cookies every year for that because she loves Mrs. Boyle and the Coyote Chorus. I only had one thing, and that was your parent survey results were great. Holy cow!
Yes, it's
that
nice
was
to be
impressive.
there again, right.
Yeah, I mean, we know it's hard to get parents to respond in general, but when you get really good responses across the board, there wasn't much to, so.
Right. Our key strategy this year was the last day that the survey was open was actually a PD Friday. And I said, okay, everybody, pull out your phones. You're doing a dojo right now, and sending a plea to parents to do this now.
Good.
So that seemed to bring in an extra full. So it's good.
Good thing.
We have some good
Each other.
relationships.
Teach other team members that way. That's perfect. Run.
Okay, yeah. It, You know, it's not that I don't like Galileo,
Oh.
it's that
I'm
I
just
don't
teasing.
like the report.
I understand. I
You
feel
know,
the same way
because,
sometimes.
because it is testing on, I guess, what you've had, but also what you're gonna have
Right.
by the end of the year. So you know, I look at it and it's like, okay, yeah, but half of the program that they tested on is they haven't had yet.
Right.
And that's the primary thing about Galileo that I don't like, is just that piece of it, that the report doesn't really, to me, doesn't give me a clear picture. But what I was gonna ask, in kind of in relationship to the whole thing like that, you give tests, quizzes, whatever you want to call it, you know, to these kids. So in other words, like fifth grade math, you give them these to see where they are in the what's been covered, not
Right.
what's going to be covered, what's been covered. So if you grafted that out, you know, what would that look like?
That's a great question.
And that, I mean, so
Yeah.
to me, that's
That's-
to me right at this point,
Right.
I'd say, well, that's kind of more important because, you know, knowing where they are in relation to where they should be, not where they are in relation to where they're supposed to be
Okay.
and later on, you know,
Right.
down in the future. So anyway, that's just kind of my Galileo piece on that. But I have to comment on it because,
The teachers know those pieces. It just doesn't come in a pretty report.
yeah, right.
Right.
It was something
and we
you'd
don't
have,
need more.
something you'd have to actually, you know, put down and
Right.
line out, whatever.
Agreed.
What was it? Something else I was going to ask. Oh, and along that same thing with Galileo, last year sometime or another, we got a scatter chart that, you know, that was part of the Galileo report. And I don't know, you know, it was like
The growth. thing?
proficiency and growth
Oh,
or something
oh.
like that on this, you know,
Yes.
on the two axes. And
That'd be a good one to look at.
that was, I didn't know if that was an end of the year thing or if it was, no, just didn't have any data right now to show, but anyway. Yeah, the little kids with their posters that they made, that was kind of good idea with, the bullying thing, so. Okay, but no, that's all I have.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ron. How did the spelling bee go?
Very well.
Did it?
Very well. We've got 8 students that will be going up to the January 27th spelling bee.
Wow.
And
Good.
Miss Lands is our English language learner teacher, and she had 4 of those that are going on to the district level
Wow.
were are either currently hers or have been hers. So she was very, very proud.
Wow.
that
She should.
They were very
Wow.
well
Yeah, that's
represented.
awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
Where do they go next?
The district spelling bee is January 27th.
And where is that?
Up at Vulture Peak.
Got
Mhm. Yeah, and we'll have representatives from festival and
Okay,
us,
good.
and yeah, so we go against the big
That's a
kids.
fun one to watch.
I'm gonna go.
It's nerve wracking.
It's very nerve wracking.
I sat there with a box of Kleenex, and it's okay, baby. You did it though.
No, great report. They covered the hot buttons. Yeah. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.
I want to give an extra shout out. I know Dr. Imondini already did, but to the ARIVAC team and everybody, having Santa come, and you know, we all know who Santa was, and wasn't Mr. Hershkowitz. Some of the kids were asking if I was dating Santa. No,
Oh.
no, let's not start rumors. But it was pretty cool to see that helicopter land on our field for a non-emergency.
Right.
And then to have Santa come out and the kids to have that interaction, it was just really special. And so they said they want to do it every year. So we're pretty excited about that,
Good.
right? Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
We need
it.
an
Nice.
invitation next year.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it was a big, big secret this year. I didn't even tell my teachers that it was like Santa coming in a helicopter. I just said Santa's coming, and it's going to be highly disruptive. So So
Get
plan
everything
for,
done before that.
Yeah, so yeah, you have till here and then probably forget the rest of your day because the mind is on Santa, right? So,
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Well, the
Very good.
secret is out, and Battalion Chief Christofferson didn't know it was a secret to the kids. So as he was helping them get in a safe space, he mentioned to some of them,
Oh.
Santa's coming, and they looked at him, and I said, shh, and he goes, oh, sorry. But next year it won't be a surprise,
Right,
but it will
right.
still be just as much
Special.
fun.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
we kept it super secret because we didn't want the entire community to show up.
Right.
And we also didn't know if we were going to pull it off. you
Right.
know?
That was the big thing.
It-
Like it could be happening. but,
Santa
you know,
was on a
emergency
hunting
people.
Right,
trip
exactly.
until
Right.
Sunday night, and
Yeah.
hadn't tried on his costume. Aerovac
Yeah.
didn't know which pilot, 'cause it was a new pilot,
Oh, wow.
and if they had a call, so we got it.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
yeah. So it was fun.
I did so well with the secret that when I met with staff that were available to help, supervise and make sure that nobody ran toward the helicopter, like I just started going into like, we're going to do this and they're going to be over here. And they were like, what? I said, in a helicopter, didn't you hear me say landing zone? Like, what did you think was happening? So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it was very
Cool.
cool. So thank you,
Perfect.
Dr. Amadou.
Well,
That
it
was
it's-
well
will
worth
be
it.
a surprise to the kindergartners next year because they weren't here this year.
No, they'll hear it from the first graders and everybody else,
I
you
did
know.
hear that our sixth graders were super jealous.
They were.
Yeah.
in April, so.
Right, but without the big.
Without Santa.
Right.
You get the Easter bunny.
They would probably do that.
Hey, I knew the Easter Bunny one time.
All right, so now we've got call to the public, and don't have any of those folks here. So we'll go along with our consent. No, she was busy crocheting when I looked last. Did you finish?
I did finish the
Was it gonna fit me?
Was it a
just right?
sock?
Oh,
I'm so
cute.
sorry, no.
Oh.
It's a sock.
That's too big for me, okay.
Wait, this is my pair.
Oh, okay,
You're everyone else, and then I make my own pair.
very good,
That's
Rhonda.
awesome.
All right, so we've got a consent agenda. Does anybody need anything pulled
Yes,
from? We do.
would like to pull letter G, travel, from the consent agenda, please, for discussion.
Okay. Anybody else need anything?
I'd like to pull the, minutes for December 10th.
Okay. Anybody else? It's darn near the whole thing, but anyway. Let's take action on the rest of the agenda that didn't get pulled.
Okay, make a motion to approve the consent agenda items minus A and G for December 17th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, so, Sandy, did you want to speak about the minutes?
Certainly.
Okay.
The reason I pulled it is the December 10th meeting do not reflect that there were questions asked about the secondary tax increase, and I felt like that was important and it should have been included in the minutes.
That was it. Thank you. Ms. Skype will work to get those amended and get them approved at next board meeting.
Okay, well, we are approving the November 19th
Mm-hmm.
minutes.
Yeah.
We were just, okay,
Yeah, and then December 10th with an amendment. We'll have to do an
Correct.
amendment.
Okay,
okay.
so I'll make a motion to approve the governing board meeting minutes for November 19th, 2024 as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, so let's talk about item G, the travel.
I pulled this item because I had a concern and I wanted to discuss it with my fellow board members. That, first of all, I want to say, I want the FFA to go. This is a fantastic event for them to be able to be invited to and to be able to go. And I think in my conversation yesterday, I found out it was the first time they're going to be able to go. So I want that to happen. My concern is that our particular advisor in the description and justification, when it comes down to accommodations, which it is an overnight trip, that our advisor of our students is staying off campus within a short proximity of the event, rather than staying with our students. And that, as a former just administrator myself, concerned me when I read that.
Okay. Anybody have any comments or questions regarding that part?
I too had the same concern.
I think a number of us actually did. Dr. Amandini, would you like to speak on this?
Yes, thank you all. I appreciate the concern. Just so you know, Mr. Bushbaum and Ms. Mataroso, who is Kenzie, who is our FFA advisor, did expect that this would be. So in hindsight, we probably should have put this as an action item and not have to pull it off the consent agenda. This is an annual event that Peoria High School hosts. We have not participated before. It's not been something of prior, and this is only year 3 of vocational agriculture FFA. So it is not something that's been sought out before. We did verify that, and this is in conjunction with the Arizona FFA Pinnacle Leadership Event. So it is an overnight stay. Peoria High School is hosting it. There will be 30 chaperones during the day and 10 of them spending the night. Peoria High School provides those chaperones. All of them have DPS fingerprint clearance card, and they use the same process for verifying their chaperones as we do. The reason they do that is because everybody is sleeping in the gyms. The boys will be in one gym, the girls will be in the other gym, and the approved chaperones will be with gender-specific areas. They don't have room for all of the chaperones, nor would it be prudent to have chaperones of, like, I'm not sure that other boards would be comfortable with our chaperones spending the night with their kids. Does that make sense? Because they're all in one room, right?
Yeah. So
do you see, like, would we be comfortable with somebody else's, you know what I mean?
Yes,
So
yeah.
having Peoria take care of that. They did offer, knowing, because we did reach out to them, Mr. Bushbaum reached out to Peoria High School, and they did offer to have, to make arrangements for our chaperone to stay with the young ladies that will be there. And I do have a statement from Kenzie that I would like, that she asked me to read. She wasn't able to attend tonight. She said, this camp is a great opportunity for students to explore careers in agriculture through the many sessions students will be attending. It is also a great leadership building and social emotional learning opportunity with spending time with other FFA members from other schools. Concerning the overnight stay at Peoria High School, I plan to be readily available the whole night if anything were to occur by staying at a hotel close by. It is due to my own physical limitations that I will be unable to stay the night at Peoria High School due to the nature of my stay and the limitations of my physical disability. She cannot sleep on an air mattress. She's not physically able to do that. But she does believe this experience will be valuable to the students. So it is up to the board to determine if those, and the schools, the FFA club does have money to pay for her hotel stay that will be close to Peoria High School. Probably not the closest high school to Peoria High School because Peoria High School is in kind of a transitional neighborhood. That's why the kids are staying in the high school. So, but close enough to come by,
So are there other schools whose chaperones will be staying off campus, only
I don't
ours?
know what the others will be doing. That will be up to them. This is not the first year that it has happened, so I can't speak to what other high schools are doing. But they did offer Kinsey a space because we reached out and said this would be the first time our board dealt with this, and I appreciate it. I have concerns as well. So the only other time we've done anything similar to this was when we had a JAG student qualify for nationals, and she traveled completely alone with JAG chaperones. Her parents didn't go, we didn't go. So that's the only time since I've been here that we've done anything like this.
So is Mackenzie the only chaperone that's going with the group?
Well, she's only driving them there and will be there during the day, because they're providing the overnight chaperones that are there.
How many we have?
Right,
Six?
but
There will be
that
6
wasn't
kids.
my question. My question is is Mackenzie the only one going down with
No,
the
it says
students?
FFA advisor Jim
No,
Kallenbach is
he's from
overseeing the
Peoria.
event and will act as the head chaperone.
He's
That's
from
the
Peoria.
Peoria.
Yeah,
Of
no, I meant
Wickenburg
from
High
here.
School.
Oh,
Kinsey will
Kinsey.
be driving the 6 students down there. She will
Okay.
stay with them during the day and participate and lead that. And then we'll be at a hotel once lights are out and they're all snug in their beds, and then come back and
But
join
she's the
them.
only one that's going down.
Well, yeah, for 6
We only
kids,
have
we
one.
wouldn't
Right,
send
right.
How
more.
many are boys and how many are girls?
We don't know yet because she doesn't know that this is approved yet.
Oh, she
Right.
doesn't even know the students going yet?
Well, she knows who she would like to send,
Oh,
but
I
it's
see.
not
She hasn't
approved yet, so
invited.
she can't tell the kids, because if it's not approved, then
Got
they
it.
would think, you know.
Okay, so
up
what
to
is,
6 children.
okay, what is her plan, should we approve this? What is her, plan for telling parents that she will not be there?
It will be I'm assuming it will be the communication that Peoria High School sends out. So that the kids will stay in the gym and they will have an overnight with the chaperones from Peoria High School. And our parents will have to sign permission for them to go overnight.
But they will know that
Yes.
Kinsey is not there. I mean,
Absolutely.
our parents will know that.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely.
To me, it's similar to when I sent my kids to basketball camp at ASU. I mean, they didn't go with a chaperone, they didn't go with me. You know, they supplied the chaperones at the camp. Kids going to Boy Scout camp or Girl Scout camp or camp, whatever. You know, so in that respect, it's similar. You know, I just feel that we as school board members feel like we have a responsibility to make sure these kids are okay.
We're good?
Joe, do you have thoughts?
No, I had the same exact thoughts that you guys did, because if you didn't pull it, I was gonna pull it. Because I wanted to find out the information that Dr. Remendini got for us. Because I had the concern about so another school's gonna be watching our kids.
Mhm.
well, yeah,
How do we know, you
I
know?
feel like listing that males and females are in 2 different rooms. There's, you know.
Right. So
no,
this was
I
great
think it's fine.
information. This made me feel a lot better.
And just knowing they've done this event more than one time already, obviously they wouldn't
Mhm.
still be able to do it if there were issues or, you know, that occurred as a
Right.
result of that, so.
Right.
And to just go on record that I don't want this to open the door to other clubs and organizations that's where my concern is, not to open the door that, hey, our advisors don't have to go. You know, I think bringing them to the board and we discuss them, get more information, I think that's the key, because we are responsible for them, so.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I don't feel as if it's our group that is saying this. This is the way that Peoria runs it.
True.
So, you know, it's,
And I will add again, I think the unique situation of the sleeping arrangements, you know, you have the boys in one gym, the girls in one
Mhm.
gym, and you also got to, I mean, our chaperones would be fingerprint clear, but,
Mhm.
you know, do we really want
I don't want to
everybody all
sleep
in
on a
one?
gym floor.
You know, so I think I understand why they do it that way, and I'm happy that they're all kind of locked into
Mhm.
a high school campus, a gym with, you know, plenty of people there,
Mhm.
so.
And I know Kinsey's really good, and she's so good with her kiddos, and I know that whenever a chaperone that's a school district employee has those, you know, medical records if there's something of an emergency, so will she be sharing those with the people that are there? And I don't want to make that a question, because I know she needs to. Let me just say it that way. If there's any students that are going that have any sort of medical issue, then the new chaperones for that night need to be aware of that. And we need to make sure that nobody's disqualified from going because they have a problem and she's not going to be there. I want to make sure that's not part of it.
I appreciate that. I actually, in response to that, I'm going to look to Anne Marie, because she may have been the principal that's most recently, the person in the room that's most recently done an overnight trip with kids. And I believe our paperwork for overnight trips includes the disclosure that parents have to disclose if there's any medication or medical concerns that travels with the
Right.
kid.
But
It's something, an emergency, something, but we keep the medication and they have to sign off.
Mhm.
And we distribute the medication
I understand that, but she won't be staying there at nighttime.
Right, but
So-
that will be passed
Part
on
of
to
it,
the
passed
chaperone.
on.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to be sure.
Well, it's probably like during drop off. It's
Yeah.
how I did at summer camp for Terrence. During drop off, you had to give the bag of meds. Here's when he takes it, fill out a
Yeah.
form, sign it.
Perfect.
And I will double check all
Yeah.
of that. We'll make sure we're clear. If this is approved, we'll.
I appreciate you doing the footwork
Mhm.
to find the details out. Thank you very much.
Okay. Anybody else have further concerns or comments? Okay. Go ahead with the motion if you're so inclined.
I'll make a motion to approve the overnight travel for 6 students from the Wickenburg High School Future Farmers of America chapter to attend the Arizona FFA Peoria Mini Leadership Camp at Peoria High School for the time period of January 24th through 25th, 2025, as submitted.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion does carry. Thank you. All right, so we move along to our action items. Item 5A is a request for approval of financial reports presented by our Executive Director of Business Services, Mr. James Scott.
Thank you, Mr. President. Board members, you have in your board packet the November 24 Business Office financial reports. We had one purchase that was completed that was over $10,000 that was unique, and that was to the Fruth Group for a little over $19,000. And that was for the additional copier equipment, like the high capacity trays and so forth that we had purchased. I believe you approved that in September. We are in compliance, our budget balances are positive, and we have no surprises.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
I have a stupid question.
Yeah.
It says current fiscal year 2025.
So that's a good question. So in schools, we go by fiscal year, and the fiscal year is
Which is
always
two.
the end of the school year. So 24, 25 is fiscal year 25. So not a stupid question. Great question.
Yeah, it's like, okay,
But
it
the
just,
Mm-hmm.
reason I'm laughing is because I look at this, and I
Yeah,
think
it's
this
a
is the
normal
first time I
year.
actually looked at the legend. And so, just as it is, I would say 24's on the left, 25's on the right.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't look at the little dots that say it's 25, 24.
If you like, I can adjust that for next month and start putting the school year too, if that's helpful.
I mean, the fiscal year is fine.
Okay.
I would just kind of, last year, this year, as far as the, graph arrangement. But
it just kind of jumped out at me the other day.
Anybody else? Entertain a motion for that one.
I'll make a motion to approve of the financial reports as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh,
That motion does carry. Great report, Mr. Scott. I appreciate that. The way it's laid out, I love that. I mean, even if it is 24, 25, 25, 24. I liked it either way. Either way, I like that.
the bar graph, you like the bar graph.
I like the bar graph. All right, so second action item is item B, and it's the first reading of Policy Advisory 787, and that deals with the use of technology, resources, in instruction. Anybody have any comments on that piece? Okay. Next one is action item, first reading of policy update, IKA. That's a grading assessment systems. Anybody have anything that they want to discuss on that piece?
We're just cutting out a bunch of it, is what it looks like.
Looks like.
Yeah, to be in line with practice of what we're doing right now and to align with Arizona state law that prohibits anybody other than the classroom teacher from making changes to a student's grades. So it has to be the classroom teacher. In this prior practice, we were not following that.
Okay.
Right, plus all the testing has changed.
I understand why we're doing this. I'm wondering, is there anywhere where we define what those grades mean? In any other policy? Because we took that out of here.
Yes. I'm thinking,
Because it was in the beginning of this and,
there is another grading policy that defines 80 to 90.
I should have looked it up.
And I can't.
Yeah,
remember.
I can't remember.
As long as
Well,
it's
it-
somewhere
it-
else,
isn't
because
that
we
in
took it
the,
out of here.
Handbook?
Handbook.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
absolutely in the
It's in
handbook,
the
but it's in policy. And so, and Ron made a good point here. When this policy was implemented, we were giving the Ames assessment. The Ames assessment was directly aligned to
Mhm.
our standards. So when a kid did however they scored on a portion of the Ames, we could directly connect that
Right.
to academic standards and what they were learning. Our assessments since then, we can't do that.
Right.
So that was why it was doable back then, because we could actually say this portion of the Ames coincides with this portion of this course, and it doesn't do that our tests don't do that anymore.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion on that? Okay, so we'll move along to item 6, which is our informational items. And that is future agenda items. Anybody have anything to toss on there?
It's cold in here.
Okay, for the next agenda, we gotta have sweaters for Sandy. Anything else? All right, and then we've got our announcements, our calendars, schedule, everything on there. Casey, thank you again. It feels so festive. There it says Merry Christmas right there. I love it.
I think I have a question, but I'm trying, it's weird that I say it that way because maybe I'm supposed to know something different. On the calendar that we received, US district events, on the left-hand side, it says board meeting schedule, 121 organizational meeting.
That's where you.
What is that?
That's our
Elected
board
meeting.
organizational yearly meeting where we elect a board president.
Oh, okay, I had no idea.
Yep.
That's okay, but on that schedule, okay, because we had the board retreat and then we have a regular meeting somewhere in January too?
That's 20.
That is our.
Oh, that
regular
is
meeting.
it.
In connection.
Oh, I was like, okay, so that's in connection to the regular meeting, so that's also a regular meeting on the 21st.
Yep.
You
Got
you
it.
also have to do your
Conflict of interest.
conflict of interest.
Yes.
It's all done
Okay.
prior to. the
Y'all
actual
tell
meeting.
me, send it to me, tell me what to do, because
Even
that,
though
I
we're-
didn't know what that was.
What's it called? Sworn in today.
When we did it.
Well, that's the conflict of interest.
No, but the January board organizational
Oh,
meeting.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we had
It's
to
just
get
weird to
sworn
me
in now,
that
so.
it's November that you get sworn in, elected November, sworn in December, and then January is, anyway.
Gotta be ready
January
to
is-
go
that's-
January 1st.
I'm
That's
just
gonna be our
Wait till
first
January to
meeting.
swear you in.
As our official
Is
4-year
there, that's
stint.
our official first meeting.
Official.
Got it.
Right.
And they did change the date recently. The organizational meeting used to have to be
On
held
the
before the
15th.
15th of January,
Right.
which meant we had
And now it
2
doesn't.
board meetings and,
Okay.
or an early board meeting.
Or
Okay.
early, yeah.
We're going to. So what we're gonna do now is we're going to take 5, because we're gonna head into executive session. So we'll ask if Rhonda can finish her socks at home. And- I just had to do that, Rhonda, sorry.
Starting a new app.
All right.
Jeez.